It's like, is anybody going to get there? And he does.
Yeah, it's kind of those moments where you kind of prepare for chaos. You know, the call didn't kind of go in, and you know, X was kind of in the right place at the right time, and you know, to just make that play at that moment was huge and critical for us as the defense, but us as a team collectively. We needed him in that moment, and he was able to come through for us.
And obviously, not asking people where he's scheme, but I mean, a team like Kansas, obviously, we know people see the record, like, oh, not that good, but a few plays here and there, they can run the ball. I mean, the quarterback can run from a kind of a secondary standpoint. If you're prepping for the game, kind of, I guess, things are you doing to prep for that?
Yeah, letting the guys know that their record and the box score doesn't paint the portrait of who this team is. This isn't a 1-4 team coming to play us here, at home. This is a team that's a few plays away from being 4-1. Arguably a team that's coming in, could be 5-0 Kansas versus 4-0 Arizona State. So really just not trying to get our guys to focus on the wins and losses next to their name. Just really respect the opponent. What are their strengths? What do they like to do? And just trying to give our guys, put them in the best position to succeed on Saturday.
Hey, Kenny said that one of the big reasons they are 1-4 is the amount of turnovers they've had. How do you focus on getting guys in the right positions to make those turnovers? Are there tells that the team might have
you kind of prepare guys and give guys indicators of route concept and plays and tendencies out of certain formations, and those guys just have to make really good decisions. Just being at the right place, the right time. To capitalize on turnovers. For sure.
What about for Kansas in general? Like, what kind of some of the things that stand out there? Maybe some areas that you guys feel like could be strengths for you.
Yeah, things that stands out for Kansas just on paper. Really 2 years removed from having a legit Heisman campaign behind us. So they got a lot of toys. The running backs are really good, especially the starter running back. So this is the team, like I said earlier, they're not a reflection of 1-4. It's a really good ball club. We got coming in, so we just have to play, our best, Arizona State Sun Devil football on Saturday, to give ourselves the best chance to win.
When you have some of those bigger receivers on the outside, what are maybe some of the challenges that they can pose to the secondary?
The challenges that they'll pose, to our guys, which, they probably have 4 to 6 inches on certain cornerbacks depending on the matchup. It's just guys being disciplined at the line of scrimmage, guys not putting themselves in a position for a big outside receiver to kind of box you out and kind of use his body to kind of open up bigger pockets and windows for the quarterback to drop the ball. So guys have to be really disciplined at the line of scrimmage and, kind of not get themselves in trouble. We've got to be real disciplined and technical at the line of scrimmage to go against these big wide receivers.
You mentioned the discipline aspect of it all, and there were a couple penalties against secondary for multitude of reasons against Texas Tech. How much is that something that you guys talk about, go over, instruct, or when it comes to not having those situations?
It's something we really emphasize because at the end of the day, the quarterback still has to complete the ball. In certain instances, we kind of panic at the top of routes, and you get hands on the receiver, and it's kind of like fight or flight. We tell them, we emphasize to those guys, they still have to complete the throw. So just put yourself in the best position, fight through the end of the play. Try to contend and challenge all routes, but when you get in a position to be vulnerable, you make it easy on the wide receiver. You can have perfect coverage, but if you grab them, even if the quarterback overthrows, you kind of bail out. So a lot of teams have this mentality that if they throw a fade or a deep ball, one of 3 things is going to happen. They're going to catch it, they're going to get a PI, or they're not going to catch it. And a lot of teams feel like they have a better chance catching it or getting a pass interference. So it's really going in with 67% odds is something that a lot of teams, especially a team like Kansas, will put their wide receivers in a position to make a play. And we have to be really disciplined, not only from a technique and man coverage standpoint, but we cannot bail these guys out at the top of routes.
We'll give any freebies for that.
Yeah, for sure.
When it comes down to that, though, Keith Abney and Robinson have been asked to do a lot just in the lack of depth at the position, and now LT's coming back. So, what does that just kind of say about the group, and what are some expectations for that?
Having LT back is huge. He's a guy that obviously has infectious energy, but he brings in, a physicality that those other guys aren't, coming with on Saturday. So just to get that presence out there is going to be essential, and he'll kind of take some of the heat off of those guys from playing, the extensive amount of snaps that those guys play versus Tech.
Do you think that maybe some of those freebies and kind of bailout stuff will subside with LT back, and they're able to spread the snaps?
I just feel like it's, just unfortunate situations that he was in, that he was able to, the refs got to make judgment calls in those situations. And I honestly could have saw those calls going anyway, but, we just got to live with how they call it out on the field.
What did you make of the bye week for you guys, having opportunity to kind of reset and amongst the DBs and all that kind of stuff?
It was an opportunity for us to reset, reflect, set new season goals for ourselves. It was an opportunity to self-critique, self-examine. What do I need to work on heading into these next, 4 games of the season? Because you kind of break up the season in quarters. So the first quarter of the season is done. Now we're entering that second quarter. What do we need to focus on? What are we good at? And just continue to add on top of our foundation. We're not trying to take steps back. We're trying to move steps forward and add to our repertoire.
How did that process go for you guys? I assume a lot of that was kind of like film room, behind closed doors kind of stuff. Were you doing like one-on-ones with the players, or are you guys kind of having like big group discussions about what you need to focus on as like a collective?
Yeah, we have one-on-one discussions, but we really want to create a family atmosphere, so we do meet as a group and we kind of show the guys the totem pole, and we'll go through pros and cons of each guy. We'll give them an opportunity to assess how they feel like they've played for the 4 weeks. So it's really healthy conversations, and it's just us being able to critique ourselves and focus on key areas moving forward where we need to focus on these next 4 weeks.
What were some of the areas that you thought, you can improve on?
Yeah, not bailing out wide receivers, not being handsy. And a lot of times when you assess the film, they didn't need to get hands on. We didn't need to grab. We didn't need to hold to be in certain positions. So really being disciplined and being technical is an area of focus going in forward because, Keith played 88 snaps, Javen played 87 snaps. Towards when fatigue sets in, the focus and emphasis on actual technique, the focus and emphasis on alignment is more key in those instances versus, when it's the first play of the game, it's easy to get lined up. When fatigue is setting in, there's a lot of shifts in motion, which Kansas does, a lot of shifts in motions. Guys have to be locked in and focused, to just make sure we don't beat ourselves on pre-snaps.
Seems like ideally too, with with LT coming back, that can maybe not be much of a problem.
Absolutely. We can take some heat out of guys and just make sure that guys are fresh, moving forward.
Anything about playing on the road that impacts that as well, with the fatigue and with like the concentration aspect of everything?
Not necessarily. On the road, it's a little bit more focused, probably not from the offensive standpoint, but from a defensive standpoint, going on the road in the opposing stadium, you don't hear the fanfare. It's actually more quiet on the field than it would if you're playing third down in our stadium. It's a lot of chaos, so guys got to communicate via hand signals, and you might not be able to hear. But playing on the road from a defensive standpoint should be, to me, it's a lot more fun because you can communicate when the offense is out in the field because usually the stadium's quiet. So really the focus and being on the road is kind of like having that bunker mentality when you go on the road. It's us against the world. It's us in enemy territory, and we need to be able to communicate and be on the same page.
Thanks, man. Appreciate your time.